A director at the International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance, Professor Adebayo Olukoshi, is challenging all Africans to be active citizens, to demand the ideals of democracy, which are rights and liberties, as well as good social and economic livelihoods. Professor Olukoshi was speaking at a public lecture in honor of a Ghanaian academic, Professor Akilagpa Sawyerr.
In the field of law, who has served in various universities in Ghana and abroad, a former Vice-Chancellor of the University of Ghana, and also a former president of the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences. Statements from colleagues and associates described him as a radical thinker with an abiding passion for political economy. For them, the values of simplicity, dignity and courage underlies the principles and character of the man George Frederick Arthur, who many know as Professor Akilagpa Sawyerr. Aki, as affectionately known, celebrated his 80th birthday in March this year, and friends and associates organized a public lecture and photo exhibition to celebrate his life of academic excellence, public service, thought leadership and activism. Professor Akilagpa Sawyerr has written extensively on the politics of Africa, documenting some economic conditions which Africa had to endure under leaders who betrayed the ideals of independence and subjected its people to authoritarian rule and dictatorship, resulting in various political instability that characterized the early 1970s and 80s. Speaking on democratization, active citizenship and Africa's transformation, the Regional Director of Africa and West Asia of the International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance, Professor Adebayo Olukoshi, said the haste with which Africa transitioned into democracy without recourse to social and economic policies has driven its people into misery and poverty.
Increasingly, democracy as practice is nothing other than a tool for the legitimation of a neoliberal agenda. Of an agenda which, in the context of the continent today, speaks not only to a persistent poverty, but also of high and unsustainable levels of unemployment among our young people, and above all, of growing inequality on a scale which we have never seen before. Not because that inequality is the product of an accident, but because it is actually a deliberate design integral to the entire neoliberal agenda. And in a context in which inequality becomes the defining feature of a society, democracy actually becomes itself a formalistic ritual. So should any of us be surprised that increasingly in many countries, citizens find it impossible to make a link between what is celebrated as democratic gains and successes and their lived daily conditions.
Professor Olukoshi charged the peoples of Africa to rekindle and revive the values of active citizenship, to take their destinies into their own hands and demand change, as happened recently in Sudan.
A glimpse of what that reclaiming of citizenship might be able to offer us is what we have seen happening in Algiers and what we have seen happening in the Sudan. We have seen that the will and the power of the people to take their destinies into their hands is the only sure banker that a renewal and a reconstruction can take place.
The Executive Director of the Institute of Democratic Governance, IDEG, encouraged Africa to guard the semblance of democracy on the continent and labor collectively to make it work.